Do this shit until they murder me.
Hello everyone, my name is Xenosacha and welcome to my first ever Black Desert video, and this will be a beginner's guide for those of you who are interested in, looking at, or possibly wanting to get into Black Desert. Sort of a beginner's guide to understanding some of the mechanics as well as what goes on in Black Desert. So without further ado, hopefully this video will help you guys out. Let's get started. So first things first, let's get into what you're seeing on screen currently. When you start up Black Desert, it's going to ask you to sign into your account, as again, they let you log in kind of like a third party if you've ever played any of those types of games. You log into their servers, your character is then created, your account's created for them, and you are moved into selecting a server through the Black Desert world. Now the servers have no real distinction between them. They're all roughly the same. There are currently 15 servers in game, and that is spread out between the Calpheon 1 through 3, Medaya 1, 2, 3, Serendia's 1, 2, Arsha up there you can see it, Belenos 1 through 3, and Valencia 1, 2, and 3. Now, this MMO is kind of unique. It's an MMORPG, but it also has two types of thing. There's your PvP and PvE. PvE content normally takes you anywhere between levels 1 through 50. PvE or PvP will be not engaged until after level 50, and that in itself is a mission that we're going to have to go into later on in a different video. However, when you're first starting out, just understand that every first server, so Calpheon 1, Medaya 1, Serendia 1, Belenos 1, Valencia 1, each of those servers are currently selected for mostly PvP throughout the day, and that you can see it says Node War or Conquest, and that is mostly there's selected time frames for each of those, but normally all the first servers for each of them are based around PvP. At a certain time, monsters despawn. They basically, it's clans versus clans, so if you're big into wanting to get into high-end content, endgame is normally revolving around PvP. For those of you who are interested in the PvE aspect, we go into anything else that is not a one server. So this would mean, in this case, Calpheon 2, Calpheon 3, any of the 2 or 3 servers, as long as you enter it, you're kind of good to go. So for this purpose, the purposes of this, if you ever see the server saying crowded, that's not to be misunderstood. Sometimes the server being too crowded at the time I'm recording this video, the population is really low, so it's not much to worry about. But server population will definitely increase throughout the day, so you can see crowded. It'll actually have a symbol for Siege Wars or Node Wars on the ones, and that's just to let you know during that time monsters despawn and that PvP is activated in that server. However, if it's not on there, you can join any of the 1 servers up until the point for that selected time. So for this video, we're going to jump into Calpheon 2, as that's pretty much the server I mostly join. As you can see, I have already created a couple characters and have gone deep into the game. I wouldn't say towards end game content yet, but I'm definitely have enough characters spread out. One of the benefits of Black Desert is you can create up to 6 characters. For your screen, you may see just a plus sign in a box and 5 other slots with a lock, and that's to simply represent that you have not used that character slot. It's an available slot. I have 7 slots available because in game, through either daily login rewards or event rewards, you can earn character slot expansions. Either that, or you can purchase them from the Pearl Shop, which is the in-game shop that you can use with real money. So before we go into it, you can see that I have a couple different classes here. Notice to the top it has Zen Zen. So the game asks you when you're first starting out to create a family name. Now, all your characters will share your family name. It's basically the last name for all your characters. They're all family bound, so whenever someone refers to your family name or an in-game item refers to family, it refers to all your characters that you have. Then there's your character name. Your character name, as it should imply, is the name that you would like that character to have. So when creating your character for the first time, just remember that your family name is referring to what all your characters will share among them, and your character name is what you want to name that individual character. And just to let you know all the classes that you can choose from as a new player, let's get into a character creation slot that's empty here so I can show you that. Do you want to create a new character for this part? Why not? I'm not going to be showing you guys exactly how to create a new character. I feel like if you're a new player to an MMO, it'd be cool for you guys to just go in there and experience it for yourself. Black Desert does have a really cool customization with characters, and I strongly urge you just to go through it and experience it for the first time yourself. It is one of those things that you will probably be amazed at for the game. So first off, one of the characters that you can choose from is the Shy character. I'm not going to be going into detail about what each of these characters can do. This is mostly showing you the different types of characters that you can choose. Shy is currently the it was currently the newest class that PC had. On console, this is not the newest one. Ninja currently is, but was the previously new class, and you can basically consider her the support. We have the Warrior, which is kind of like your knight class, for those of you interested in becoming a heroic knight in your quest for, I guess, heroism in this case. His is mostly a close combat mid range type. Most of his abilities will involve close combat. So keep that in mind. There are ranged characters versus close combat characters. Some characters have abilities that can, give you the ability, giving you that distance. But there is a certain range that each of them will have an advantage of or disadvantage in. Next, we have the Ranger class here. And you will be wondering why, if you have a warrior, you can't make it a female or a male. There are male and female classes of them. Currently on console, the warrior and the ranger are, each class has its specific character, whether that character be a female or male. You can't change between them. So if you pick a ranger, that's your, who's basically your archer in this case. That's unfortunately only going to be a male. There is an archer class on PC, and I'm not sure as to when console will be receiving that. But I guess you can look forward to one of those in a future expansion. Next, we have the Sorceress, who's kind of like a, I can't say it's a magician because it implies. It implies. I will have to get video gameplays of each of the characters. That way I can show you guys what their abilities are, at least giving you a rough rundown of some of the skills and abilities that they can use. But for this video, I'm just going through each of the classes, showing you again what's available in your character customization upon startup. Next, we have the Lawn, who has the Crescent Pendulum and Noble Sword. I didn't run through all the classes items, but she is a mid-range character as well as close range, but it's an awkward position. I know Ranger is a mid to long range. Her Awakening, which we'll get into that later on, does give her close quarters, but most of them is range. The Sorceress is a close quarters as well. The Lawn kind of has some of the best mobility in the game, as well as range. It's definitely one of those classes. I also have one, so I'll be able to do a video on that. But it's definitely one of those classes that might pique your interest depending on the skills. Next, we have the Berserker, who runs the Axe and Ornamental Knot as a secondary. Definitely a class that you guys would probably want just because of the title of Berserker, and if you've ever watched any of the animes before, it probably will run down into some of those Fate Stay people that I know are out there that just love running around, rampaging through everything and killing stuff. Also, close quarters combat. The Striker as well now joins, and his is melee based. as well. No weapons, just fists, and that's all you need to know. Well, in all honesty, not all you need to know, but mostly. Your fists do the talking. Next, we have the Mousou with a blade and horn bow. Now, his is a little bit interesting because it's kind of a mix between the classes. Somewhere between the warrior and the ranger is where he would sit at. His primary is the blade. His secondary is kind of like a crossbow. So it could interest some people that want to be able to pick up some range, as well as having some defense in close quarters. Next, we have one of the sneakier classes that kind of excel in the 1v1 PvP scenario, which is the ninja class. Short sword, and has one of the more unique and interesting sub-weapon categories, because he has multiple sub-weapons you can choose from, either the kunai or a shuriken, depending on what situation you be in. You can always interchange between the two. So it's definitely one of the more unique changes that you can expect from the other characters. We also have the Dark Knight class, who is basically kind of like your female ranger in a sense, but or not ranger, I'm sorry, female warrior. Big sword, has a bit of it's a bit of an interesting. I've not gotten around to playing it, unfortunately. My friends, my clanmates that all have her seem to be enjoying it, but definitely something that might pique your interest. Again, this is just a rough rundown. For those of you who are interested as well, we have the Wizard and the Witch, which is basically either your male or female spellcaster type. So for most of you, if you've ever played an MMORPG, or just an MMO in general, kind of going into the, do you want to be a wizard, sir? And again, the Wizard and the Witch is kind of one of those scenarios that can actually be shown where it's either a male or female, but roughly run the exact same toolkit. And the toolkit only changes when it gets into their awakening version later on. But again, that's for a different video. So whichever character you choose, you can go through, create your characters. I'm not going to use up a character slot, as I might need one for a different character released later on that I might be interested in. But again, I urge you guys to go in, experience your customization yourself, and getting on to the next section relatively quick, because you will get lost in the customization of the classes. Alright, so getting around to the purposes of this video, we're going to be going with the only character I have at level 1 that I can explain to you guys the getting starting up in Black Desert. So Berserker is what we're going with, and Kokujo Tengen-yo is the character's name. If any of you get that reference, hit the like. So without further ado, let's pick our character and get started. So one of the things that you might find a little bit annoying is every time you start up. The startup to the game is a little bit slow, but as soon as you get in there, you're able to, you're definitely going to be able to get in and enjoy it, killing all those monsters or playing with your friends. There is a cutscene at the beginning of this. I apologize if it's going to be a little bit loud or too low. I'm going to try to put up the volume so you guys can hear it, but here you go. Well, I said here you go, but the video, again, that slow startup gets you in the beginning. So, hopefully it picks up, just like the little black spirit does not want to run across the screen. I love their loading icon, it really does have a uniqueness to it. And here we go.
Are you awake? These are the memories of the forgotten world. Sorry, but you should have known better.
Alright, hopefully the setting for that won't be too low. So, getting it started here, you can choose when you're first starting up to use the tutorial mode, and if it's your first run around, I kind of expect you guys to, just because some of the stuff that the tutorials actually gives you does help in the beginning. If you're trying to understand some of it, at least tries to help you as much as possible. But there are some things that the game doesn't necessarily help you with, and hopefully I'll be able to elaborate when you're first starting out in the game. So for this purpose, I'm going to be doing... I'll run the tutorial just for argument's sake. And here you will see the shadow entity known as the Black Spirit, who has not revealed his name yet. And now, when you guys are first starting up, you are not going to have the subsequent quests that I have. Your characters eventually share the same quest among them. Some of them are story quests and such. But for the purposes of when you're originally starting the game, the first mission that pops up is called the start of an adventure. Now, you can back out of this, and in case you just wanted to skip through it, but you can see that there's an icon there telling you exactly which one you want to be clicking on when you summon him. So it's telling you to go to quest and actually starting up the adventure. So let's click on that, and it's backing out. So my Berserker class is a little bit tall compared to most of them, most of the other one, but actually he's very tall compared to most normal people, and I made that on purpose just because I like having a huge character. So let's go over some of the things that you'll also be seeing before we follow the Black Spirit's instructions. So on the top corner, you're going to be seeing your level, as well as the diamond around it. Now, I'm going to try to see if this will work. Yeah, it kind of blocks it out. But we're going to be referring to everything up here as soon as the bar goes away. So it's streaming from the Xbox One in case anybody... So the diamond represents your XP bar, and you can obviously see that it has some percentages. Leveling up initially in the game is fairly easy. You start out level 1 with 0 experience, and you can slowly progress through by killing monsters. The game has a very unique system when it comes to leveling up as well that we'll go through, but explaining the other bar, the red bar will be your health, and that number in there currently for a starting Berserker is 206. The bar below that is kind of like your skill points, or your skill bar, depending on what character type you use. You can have MP, WP, SP, I think, are pretty much the standard go-arounds, and then I'm pretty sure that's based between the melee characters, the ranged characters, and of course, magic characters, such as wizards and mana points is the only one I can honestly remember. Beside that, you will see, or right above it, you will see the axe and sword that has 0.0%. That, I believe, make sure I'm getting this correct, that is your... You know what? I'm at a stump. I've forgotten that one. How bad of me. We'll come back to that one. The little arm basically represents your energy. Some in-game actions require the use of energy, whether that be using it for chopping wood, fishing, or interacting with some NPCs. You're obviously going to have less energy than me. I have multiple characters, so I've been able to build up energy, and that's one of the unique things that you get into. Energy and the icon beside that would be contribution points, are shared among all your characters. So the more characters you have, the easier it is to gain more energy as well as contribution points. Energy can be gained either by learning about something or interacting with certain NPCs, or as a reward, you get energy experience from certain NPCs after completing the quests. Contribution points, you can kind of get that as well. Every mission you complete normally rewards you with contribution experience. And you can see that also has a percentage beside it. That tells you how much experience you currently have. you get enough experience from doing repeating daily quests or quests in general, and you gain contribution points to that system. We won't be going over what contribution points will be used for currently, but it will be of importance later on. So the right hand corner on the screen, you will see that it has your map telling you which direction you're looking at. So if you want to be able to look around, you can tell which direction you're looking. It has normally a line. You can see that gold line, which you will see on the in game as well, which basically can help you go to your quests. And normally the beam of light will point you to whatever your designated target is, or the completion quest, or sometimes highlight exactly where you need to go. So it's a unique. The game tries to aid you as much as possible. Then you have above the minimap the server that you're on, as well as the in-game time. Now, the in-game time is important. It does play a relevance. There is night and day, but that aspect of the game doesn't come into part, I believe, until you hit level 25. After you hit that level gap, the game will then engage the day and night cycle, which there are certain activities that you can do during the day as well as in the night. And hopefully we'll be able to experience that. If not in this video, it will be in the next one. On the right below the map, you will have quests that you have to do. If you press start, you will see that you have a brand new layout here that brings up the menu. If you don't know what buttons you need to do for your combos, you can control guide. It brings up, again, I play on the Xbox, so it brings up all the action keys that you can do for any of your movements, abilities, as well as some of the main attacks, secondary attacks. They're at least something you look at so you can get used to what buttons you're going to be hitting if you didn't know, or at least need that guide. Next, every time you back out, it does kind of go all the way back, so you have to press start. Let me make sure. You have the escape key that can be used. I believe there is a cooldown on this, but if you ever get lost and you want to return to a node, it normally takes you to the nearest place. Inventory will tell you. So you have AP and DP. So your AP is your attack points, your DP is your defense, if that was not clearly obvious. You're going to have your basic item, which shows your equipment. Up here is all the equipment that you can have installed on the character. Your main hand, your sub weapon, your awakening weapon, which we'll get into again later on. You can wear your helmet, your chest piece, some shoes. The gloves are on this side. You get 2 earrings, necklaces, 2 rings, and the belt. I know on some you can pick up tools used for gathering, fishing rods. They can go up here. For right now, it's pretty low. Now, if you look on the left of that bar, right to the bottom, I wish the tutorial didn't hide it. Right down here, you can see character weight. There's a max weight that your character can hold, and the amount that you currently have, as well as the starting amount of inventory slots that you have. Doing quests, as well as certain quests will give you it. The Black Spirit tends to award you with inventory expansions. However, if you choose to purchase the pearls, which you can see at the top, we are currently broke in the silver. Pearls are the premium currency in the game, but you can use real world money to purchase in-game items. Loyalty points are basically your rewards for using daily logins. Every time you log in, you get 100 points. And you can also use this to purchase in-game items as well, although not as often as you would if, of course, you could spend real money. So, as you can see, when you start off, all you start off with is your basic axe and small knot. Mine is the rusty axe and cloth ornamental knot. And we're currently broke. So without going into any of the other inventory stuff, we're going to follow. So one of the unique things I like about Black Desert is the map is really large. So if you press start, you go to the map. My map is quite researched because I've played through the story multiple times with different characters, but this game map is huge. And back when the game was originally released on Xbox, I was able to purchase just the base $10 version. So I'm pretty sure I got this game on a good price. But the game map is definitely expansive. So if you're looking to devote some time to it, it's definitely worth the investment, as well as the grind, because there will be a long grind. When you first start, your map is basically going to look like this, where it's all foggy, and you will have a small circle designating, kind of like here. You're going to have that small area around you that you have. You're basically lighting up, telling you that you're discovered. In order to get that node to pop up, what you're going to do is you're going to run up to, on your screen, this gentleman over here is, if you look on your mini map, mine has a blue flag. On your screen, any person that is a node manager basically gives you information on that area. So you're going to want to run up to that person, talk to them, and discovering that person, the icon will change from a question mark to the flag, and that will at least defog the area. So your purposes in the beginning is to run through the story and try to get as much of those question marks checked off, so you can then in turn get the map defogged, kind of the same way I have. The game does tell you, if you want, there's this line running to where your destination is. If you would choose to either run there manually, or if you're running very long distances, which tends to be the case when you have to run across the map, you can auto run by tapping in the left thumbstick. Again, my character looks really clunky running around. Oh man, it's pretty hilarious. So, I really should have just skipped the tutorial on this one. Now, I will be honest, a lot of the times, even I think the first playthrough, I read through some of this stuff, and it's one of those things. Again, it's a huge game. There's a huge background lore to it. But if you're not the type to want to read through every little detail, there is benefits to it, because there are some quests that ask you about information. Then reading it is good, but for the most part, I know most of you are just going to skip right through it. So you run up to wherever your icon is. If it's a person, it'll tell you to talk to it, and that person will either issue you a quest, or in this case, you can see that you've completed the first quest. Tap on it, then gives you either a subsequent quest or subsequent quests. Man, trying to say that is a little bit tricky. Subsequent quest that you can then run through. If that character has multiple quests, it'll give you the next quest as soon as you turn in a completed quest. So in this case, he wants us to go to the excavation site. If you don't want to read the text again, to the bottom it tells you completion target, Jarrett, Delmongat, examine the ancient artifact, and you can see that the boxes basically, basic is what the quest will automatically give you upon completion. So the first two items you see here are your MP potion and a slight weapon upgrade, is what this icon is referring to. Normally, it can have multiple quests or items that are given to you upon completion, as well as multiple optional choices here that you would then have to choose what you want as a reward. So moving along, we're just going to accept it. Now, we also have this, when you come, depending on the time of day that you log in, the chats. And in the bottom of the screen, I don't know if you guys can clearly see it as well. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. You will have hotkeys or combo keys that you can do. You can either bind abilities to items, or in some cases, the game comes preloaded with them, with options that you can then go through world map, pearl shop, inventory, profile, find party, knowledge, skills, stuff like that. In this case, if you kick it, it's an insta key that you can do it. The one interesting one that's different from all of them is the down key that most of the times people don't rebind. Depends on the person. Black Spirits, which is the down key. Black Spirit's basically your uh, main interaction with the game. So he starts off as that spec, but he definitely does grow. And you can see that he can either give you some quests depending on, again, how far you progress. Enhancement, which will be in a later video. Transfusion, again, a later video. And item reform, which is definitely a later video. But he'll pretty much be your main kind of guide throughout the story as you're progressing. But one of the hotkeys that I will definitely give you guys keen on is to get rid of the chat, because when the servers are crowded and busy, chat does tend to fill up quite a bit of the screen. So you're going to hold left trigger and left on the D-pad, and we're going to toggle over to the right, which says toggle chat. This will simply turn off the chat, and I know it's definitely helpful. Rather than seeing when the chat is really busy, you can get this. Now, if you want to see the chat, you can hit the back key, and you can scroll through the different servers. Again, it's not as busy right now because at the time of the recording, the servers are pretty low, but you can go through the different chats alone. And after you're done, just close out and be careful with that. So Eden has now directed us to the next quest. You can see the line goes automatically from him, and you can talk to most of the people around here. If you see someone on your minimap, and I always try to highlight this out, look around on the minimap while you're running around to get subsequent quests, or see if you see someone with a question mark. Now, for me, currently, it's very rare to find someone with a question mark. It's my first runtime through. I try to get discover as much people as possible. So if you're running around, you see a question mark, you run up to that person. That person has some information or knowledge that you need. The game kind of works on a knowledge system, so the more you know, the better. The more you know, the easier it is to tell something. And this works very, very unique in tandem with the enemy system that we'll go over. So just running through this quick. Again, the wall of text in this game is really insane, and it's going to be a constant thing as you're going through. So he just wanted us to talk to the worker. We're done, and now we're going to talk to Jarrett. Again, your quests light up to the. If you want to get rid of that, you walk over that person, it get rid of the light. However, the target will still have that icon above it telling you that that person is the person you're going to be turning the quest into. Let's claim our rewards. Quest completed, items have been given, and she will now offer us our next quest. So, your first main quest in enemies is to learn or gain knowledge on Grey Fox. Now, this is going to be interesting because for me, knowledge is shared among your characters. So if one character learns about a certain individual or a certain monster type that you've killed, that knowledge is then it's a family. It's treated as common knowledge among your family. So what one character learns, the others automatically know as well. There is benefits to having multiple characters that we'll go into before the end of this video. This way, it'll give you at least some tips. So, if you're starting, like me, on a second character, and your quest has a gain knowledge on a specific monster type, and you've already gained knowledge of that monster, unfortunately for me, it's just going to be an autocomplete, as my character has already accomplished the quest. As you can see, the quest on the top is basically the main quest that you're doing. If you want to press start, go to quests. The red check mark is a mission that you've completed. The yellow ones are basically missions that are running. And as you can see, there's different quest types. Black Spirit, which is mostly running along your main quest line. Your story types would have their individual things, as well as the towns that each town has subsequent missions, whether that be daily or repeatable quests that you can do. However, the one we want to focus on, if you tap A on that quest, it will move to, or in this case, summon the Black Spirit was the task to complete it, and we're done. And we can quickly move on to doing the quest again. So, now we've received some items from some quests. Before we continue, let's go through it. We received some health potions. Again, these are binded to the bottom key, so you just have to make sure which key it's binded to. But we received a helmet, and now you'll notice that the helmet has an arrow going up. That basically means that the current helmet that you have is better than what you currently have on your character. If it's glowing with an arrow in your inventory, it's better than what you currently have equipped on your character. In this case, your character has nothing. Equipping one automatically hit. Now, attack in the game is based on the equipment that you have. So you can see my character has 6 to 10 AP on this. The swords represent AP and shields represent DP. So the helmet raised my DP to 4. The shield on it has 3. Any armor that you get can then increase further depending on what level of item that is. There are levels to items in the game that we'll go into again, if not this video, probably in the next one. I keep saying a lot, I apologize. But going forward, in case you're curious, when starting out, you're going to want to see your levels are important to the first section of the story, and then your AP and DP become more important towards the second half of your storyline. But for the beginning parts, our first quest is to warm up. Now, we have no skills currently, but there are skills you can learn. So you see what I did there? Press start, go to skills, and you can learn abilities. Now, skill points you earn through combat. And now I remember what that little axe and sword was for. That is actually the skill points, and I apologize. Oh man, there are some things that do escape me at the time of this recording, and I really do apologize for it. So, learnable skills, skill points in general, you earn by either killing monsters. You can get certain boosts to increase the amount of skill points that you get. Learnable skills, if you have enough skill points, will be to your left. Skill points to the left of that slash over here are skill points that you have currently. The total that you have is represented on the right, and on the left is the amount that you've earned. So currently we have nothing. It's 0 out of 0, and you can see that we cannot learn anything. However, if you want to see some of the skills that you will be able to learn, you simply say right trigger, go over to all skills that character can learn, and you can see that there's a massive amount of stuff that you will be able to do going through. Now, if you want to see what some of those skills can do while you're there, simply tap the X button, and you can turn the camera and rotate and see what that skill will do. And you can run down checking exactly what the different skills are, because I didn't see the head button. Oh, there it is. Sometimes it does lag on like that. You can run through and check. Damn, that was brutal. Sorry, the Berserker is apparently very brutal. But you can go through, check what the skill demo is. That's what the X is for, and that'll show you a preview of what that skill can do. For now, we're just going to be focusing on trying to get some skill points to be able to unlock a skill. So if you want to engage your weapons, hitting down the right thumbstick will automatically pull out your weapon. Tapping it again will put the weapon away. For this point, we want to go to killing it. Right bumper is your basic attack. Right trigger will be your special attack. This will actually use up your skill bar, if you can see. I just had some. Now, attacking enemies with certain abilities will recover that. Hitting left trigger will let you run. Now, something interesting you're going to notice here Wow, he really is brutal. The way the game works is it's based on a knowledge system. So if um, you don't know when you hit your first enemy, what's gonna pop up on the top screen is the health bar. Now, for me, because I've already gained knowledge, I can see the damage that I actually do on them. For people that are new, you can see that you will see that the health bar is just question marks. However, the health bar will change color um, depending on your knowledge. Until you learn knowledge about it, the health bar itself will change colors, going from that primary color being yellow all the way down to red, red being critical in their case, and eventually you'll kill them. When you're first starting out in the game doesn't explicitly tell you this, but in order to actually see how much damage you're doing to the enemy, you need to gain knowledge about that enemy. And in order to gain knowledge about that enemy, if you haven't guessed it by now, you run around like a complete maniac killing everything. You can see we're gaining some skills, so let's just go kill that. And we've leveled up to level 2. We're not going to go through some of the skills. I'd suggest playing around with the button mashing for a little bit, and just check on what abilities you can use when you're starting out right away. If you move over here, you will see that disappears. However, on the map, you will see that yellow icon basically telling you in that vicinity has your quest objectives. And if you come to that area, or you look on the mini map, you will see enemies highlighted with quest objective above their names, as well as on the mini map being highlighted in yellow. If they're not highlighted in yellow, they will be red. If you can see to the outside of that circle over there, they're just normal monsters that you can kill, but they do not help you further your quests. So for this one, we want to go through and kill 4 more gray foxes, who apparently can do enough, take enough axe hits. I'm not gonna lie, just the sheer Berserker memes that are gonna happen are quite hilarious. So after you complete your quest again, to gain more knowledge, you can see that doing some actions, like in my case, right bumper, just the basic attack, can recover some MP. However, using right trigger will actually consume it. And in the beginning, every time you level up, your health will go up, your bar will also as well, but it does require you to match that gauge or be wary of it. You will see in the bottom when you run the stamina bar. Now keep in mind the stamina bar down there after you run out. We'll see if we can show this on here. Starts from 100. After you run out, your character goes in an automatic cooldown that he has to then struggle to walk. But our quest is over there. Let's put away our weapons, and we can do the auto run to go over to where we need to go for the quest. Now this again is one of the useful functions of being able to just, when you have long distances to run and you need to get up and do something, I suggest using that auto run function to at least be able to get to where you need to go. Let's talk to this gentleman here, get that quest, and he wants us to talk to Eden in the chamber. Again, I'm not running through, it is a kind of a playthrough at this point, but I don't want to run through too much. So I will try to keep this one short, and hopefully this part I will leave the character here and cut into the next video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this so far, as we're going to continue this in the next guide, and I will see you all there. Till next time, have a good night.